The reason I'm wearing this shirt is because I turned 52 last week. And one of the few benefits of middle age is that the older I get, the more likely this is true. Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is William Kobe Bryant, and this is my review of Men on the Dragon. Sonny Chan has written more than a dozen local movies, including Love Undercover and Co-Web. Men on the Dragon is his directorial debut, and he also wrote the screenplay. The Chinese title is something like Middle-Aged Men Fighting the Current. I know that's not an exact translation, but it still does a better job of illustrating the main theme of the film than the English title. That said, Men on the Dragon is a much better movie title. I know I wouldn't watch middle-aged men fighting the current unless it was one of those weird Japanese AV anima movies. Good lord, how did we get here? Never mind. Francis Ng, Poon Chan-leung, and Kenny Wong play three middle-aged men forced to confront the reality that their life didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. They didn't do anything wrong, and they weren't lazy, and it doesn't matter. Tony Wu, whom you may have seen in Weeds on Fire, plays William, a young man who gave up his sports dream for his girlfriend, who doesn't seem to appreciate his sacrifice, or anything else. Francis Ng plays Long, an unmarried man who spends a lot of time with his neighbors, a single mom played by Nancy Wu, and her daughter played by someone whose name I can't remember and I couldn't find, and I'm sorry. Jennifer Yu, who you may remember from Sisterhood, was also quite good as Dorothy, the Dragon Boat team's coach. She handled all her scenes well, and she was very convincing. The role itself, though, seemed like it would just be better suited played by someone a little older. Like I said, it's not Jennifer Yu's fault. There's nothing wrong with her performance. If this was a movie for kids, she'd be great. But since it's a movie for older adults, I'd have just preferred someone a little older. I don't think I've ever said that sentence before. Never mind. Now, this is definitely a sports movie, and it has a lot of the typical sports moments and scenes. And some of them are generic just because you've seen them before, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the movie certainly is not generic, and it certainly doesn't follow all the conventions of the sports movie. The thing I like the most about Men on the Dragon is how honest and uncinematic it is. No one in this movie is perfect. They're not heroic, and quite honestly, they're not even likable all the time. They make bad choices, and they're selfish, and they brown nose at work, and they're dumb. In other words, they're real people. The movie is also realistic in the way that the story is sometimes driven by people making demonstrably dumb decisions that don't take other people's feelings or other people into account at all. You know, just like in real life. Now, the only thing in the movie that I thought was very unrealistic was the point at which Francis Ng's character gets stuck with a massive loss of time, energy, and money, and doesn't lose his mind and start screaming obscenities at the person responsible. You know, love is love, but money is money. Men on the Dragon is often realistic in what might be, you know, a depressing way, but director Sonny Chan keeps it light. Sort of. Because while the movie is, you know, kind of a sports comedy, at the same time, throughout the whole film, there's a sense of futility and powerlessness that you just can't escape. And that, I think, is his message. Francis Ng's character, Long, uses a better tomorrow to inspire himself and his teammates. Now, in the Hong Kong of 1986, there was a better tomorrow to be had, because hard work and dedication could actually pay off in people succeeding, or at least getting by. Unfortunately, that's simply not true today in Hong Kong. One of the things that I admire the most about this movie is that it manages to present some of the sharper realities of life in Hong Kong, but manages to do it in a way that doesn't get didactic, melodramatic, or maudlin. At the same time, if you celebrate a victory with no audience, does it mean anything? By the end of the movie, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no hero riding into the sunset, and there's no happy endings. Stop it. Now, this movie isn't hard to understand if you don't live in Hong Kong or if you're not from here. But if you know about Hong Kong these days, the film offers a lot of very subtle but very telling details about how life in this city can affect people. The changing room at work, the tiny flats where 3 generations of people live cheek by jowl, family squabbles, insane rents, jobs without a future, your own kids speaking Mandarin to you instead of Cantonese, which is what you speak. Men on the Dragon is, in some ways, a very powerful tribute to the people of Hong Kong who face adversity with what they call the Lion Rock spirit. But it's also an unflinching look at how life for a lot of people here has become a never-ending struggle that they have no hope of winning. Men on the Dragon, in some ways, is like a love letter to a condemned man. Now, I realize that that sounds really depressing, and in some ways it is, but really that's because I live here and I see what goes on and I understand what's represented. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't watch this movie. I think you should. It's definitely entertaining. There's certainly a lot of very good performances. You get to see people doing slightly different characters than they normally do, so I would definitely recommend that you watch it. It just opened here in Hong Kong last week, so if you have a chance, go to the cinema and watch it. Please support it because it's an extremely local film, and local films need your support. If you don't get a chance to see it that way, please wait until you can rent or buy a copy of it. Don't steal this movie. Don't kill the industry you claim to enjoy. As long as I'm talking about money, do me a favor. Click on my Patreon page. Please, it was my birthday last week. I didn't even ask for anything. I mean, for that matter, I didn't get anything either, but well, I guess that's probably because I didn't. Never mind. Do me the favor, please. Just click on it. Is that so much to ask? If you enjoyed this review, please let me know, and if you didn't, let me know. Just make sure that you use grammar and logic and spell check because, well, I deserve it. It was my birthday last week. If you enjoy the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.